top 5 stocks to buy for July 2025. And so what we are going to do is run these through our proprietary OVTLYR Nine framework. And by doing so, I'll give you if I feel that it's a strong buy, maybe it's a strong sell, or maybe it's one that I'm just not interested in at all, right? So if that sounds great to you, right, to get a little perspective on Invest with Cory's trades here, right? Let's see if we can prove with data that these actually are the top 5 stocks to buy in July 2025. Let's do it.
Of 2025. So strap in, sit tight, and don't skip any part of this video because I'm going to show you not only the top 5 stocks that you should be looking at to potentially add to your portfolio, but I'm going to show you the technicals, the fundamentals, and the financials to back up why these companies are very...
Okay, that's just too fast. Let me slow this down. Okay, so first off, the technicals, the fundamentals, and the financials. Only one of those things is going to pay us money. Let me get my bullhorn ready. Only one of those things is going to pay us money. All right, so there we go.
Listen, the only way you're going to get paid is if the price is going up. The financials doing whatever the financials are going to do, it's not going to pay you any money. The fundamentals doing whatever the fundamentals are going to do, it ain't going to pay you money. The only way you're going to get paid is with the price because profits follow price. I don't know how many times I'm going to pull this bullhorn out here, but fundamentals, they don't matter. Fundamentals is what I like to call them. It's a silly, goofy name from a goofy boy, right? A random guy on the internet has a silly, goofy name for it.
Good and likely to do well this year, and why July is ideally the time to add these stocks. Let's dive right in. I am constantly gauging the market and the ever-changing landscape of which stocks are good to add and exit at particular times, which is why my students in Discord are doing so well.
Oh wait, if we're gonna pull a Discord banana measuring contest, let's do that real quick. Over in the share your big wins section of our Discord. Look at this from Steve right here. Beyond grateful for this community and Chris having the heart of a teacher and spreading his wealth of knowledge. So former bag holders like me know how to form a plan, take the emotion out of trading, and know where I'm going to get out of trade before getting in. Looking forward to learning even more from a random guy on the internet. Look at this, right? That is what we like to call the outlier effect. That's what we like to call the outlier effect. In fact, we've got a lot of people showing how they are having these outlier effects, right? This was this is Pete's portfolio. And then, oh, look, he started following outlier. This is VX's portfolio, collecting premiums, selling cash secured puts, and then before outlier versus after outlier, right? The outlier effect is real, right? I love hearing from you guys the outlier effect. Look, it just like goes on and on and on, right? All these people sharing how they are using outlier to be profitable, right? So listen, if we're going to go into a Discord banana measuring contest, my banana is bigger than your banana.
Out to unveil screen is an other portfolio is NVIDIA, and this is a very popular stock, and the only reason why it's number 5 and not number 1 or higher on this list is because it already has a majority of the market cap. But that doesn't mean it's not a good stock to buy and a stock to add now, because it's most recently broke its ceiling in its double top peak and resistance at 148 to 150, which also had a supply zone there. Something I teach in Discord as well. A supply zone is where there's a lot of selling and a lot of liquidity.
Did I miss the stock he's talking about? Hang on.
And once stocks typically they clock upwards, and it's going to show even more growth. So this was a break of structure that we really needed to see on NVIDIA. Let's take a look.
I own NVIDIA. I own NVIDIA right now. So this is all Lambos for me today. NVIDIA's Lambos for days. Let's actually go over into NVIDIA real quick. I own 9 stocks. One of them is NVIDIA. Now, I'm ultra interested to hear all the fundamentals and the news and the financials and all that bologna sandwich to go along with it. Let's hear how great it is.
Exactly what I'm talking about right here.
With this point, right, I think Cory is a genius, right? If we can come out the back and both say, like, I own NVIDIA. I don't know if he's blowing smoke out his backside saying how great NVIDIA is, but I actually own this stock, right? I put my money where my mouth is
your supply zone. A lot of liquidity. Every time the stock comes up, it's like a double top peak. It's resisted everywhere. And now that NVIDIA has actually closed above, this is a new opportunity because it's now becoming support. So the stock will now look to move up. We've seen this on many stocks that have run. In fact, almost every stock in history that breaks a supply zone or a resistance moves up at least short to midterm. So even in bare minimum, this stock is likely to run for the coming months or for the rest of this year. And
okay. So I have a clearly much shorter outlook on stocks like this, right? Let's pop open OVTLYR real quick and go over to NVIDIA and let's work on it together, right? So for me, I entered this on Friday, June 27th. You're more than welcome to go back on YouTube and see the exact video and time and moment when I entered this, right? More than welcome to. Receipts are always available. Let's go into our dashboard and let's pull up NVIDIA. Let's run the OVTLYR 9 on this, by the way. That way you can see why I got into it. And let me introduce myself. My name is Christopher Ewell. I've twice been awarded top 100 people in finance. I was mentored by 5 of the market wizards, the best traders of all time. I've been successfully trading since 2009, and this is where outliers like us save time, make money, and start winning with less risk together as a team. So go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. So the OVTLYR 9 is my framework for evaluating a stock, right? It starts with the market. 40% of the move for basically any stock out there is due to the market. And we want to look at the trend, the signal, and the breadth of the market itself. Next is the sector. We want to look at the fear and greed. Is the fear and greed rising in that sector or is it falling? And then the breadth of that sector. Breadth meaning, do we have more buy signals working for us, right? Because a rising tide lifts all ship. So we want to make sure that the breadth is growing in the market as well as in the sector. And then lastly is the stock. So the trend, the signal, the fear and greed, and the outlier blocks on the stock itself, right? Now, I personally will not trade unless all 9 of these are lined up together. So that's what we're looking for today. So let's start with the market, with the trend of the market, because this will apply for everything, right? So if we go to the market, I like to look at the SPY as my basis. Now, you can use any sort of market benchmark. That's up to you. I personally like to use the SPY, the S&P 500 ETF. It's sitting on a buy signal with a 10 over 20 price over 50. That's what we call the outlier trend template. The 10 EMA over the 20 EMA price over the 50 EMA. 10 over 20 price over 50. And then on top of that, we have the market breadth we need to look at. So let's pop over to market breadth. So while that loads in, let's update this. Trend is bullish. Signal is bullish on the market. So market breadth is measuring how many buy or sell signals we have for the whole market. And we cover over 2,600 stocks. And so right now, this is at 58.99% and rising. So breadth of the market is rising as well. That's great. So the market is set up bullishly. Now, this will apply to all the stocks that we look at today. The sector, almost all of the sectors are bullish, almost all of them. The only sectors that are not bullish right now are the real estate sector and the energy sector. NVIDIA falls in the tech sector, which is also bullish. So we're going to mark this green for the bullish breadth in the technology sector. And then what's really handy is we can pop into this over here. You can see that breadth chart right here, but you can also see the average fear and greed score for everything in the sector in this area right here. So you can see the average fear and greed score is growing, more greed going into the sector. It's at 59.56% on average in the tech sector. So that's green there. Now, lastly, NVIDIA itself has a bullish trend, 10 over 20, price over 50. That's the outlier trend template. Still applies from the market to the individual stocks. Has a buy signal, and that's the buy signal that I took right there. So let's mark these up. Trend and signal, fear and greed. Now, when I got in, NVIDIA was right at this 50% line, right? Where it wasn't too greedy, it wasn't too fearful. It was right at midpoint. Now it's getting more greedy as well. And this is exactly what we're looking for. We want to be buying a stock that's growing in greed and getting out of the way once the greed peaks. Then lastly, any outlier blocks on top of it. So these are areas of heavy support and resistance. And this is probably the same one that Corey's talking about here. But we have a way to plot this on the chart. All of these indicators included when you sign up using the free TradingView plan. We will give you all this exact same indicators that I use for free as well. So we make that pretty easy for you over there. So Lambos all day for NVIDIA. Let's continue on and see what he has to say about NVIDIA.
And I have a price target on NVIDIA by the end of the year of closer to 180 to 190. So
okay, big giant flaw with what he just said. Sorry, I wanted him to speak longer, but I'm not going to let him speak longer here. So whenever I look to put on a trade, this is my 3 trading psychology statements that I like to go through real quick. Let me find that slide. Here we go. First, there are no expectations for the outcome of any individual trade, right? So for Corey, it sounds like he has an expectation to win, right? So on the outset, you're like, well, of course, wouldn't I expect to win? Why would you put on a trade if you don't expect to win? The problem with having that sort of mindset is you don't know what the outcome of any one individual trade is, right? this individual trade might be a winner and it might be a loser. It has no impact from the prior trade. It will have no impact on the next trade. Any one individual trade on its own can be a loser. So by having an expectation on the outcome of the trade, you could set yourself up in a situation where you're not following your own rules, you're not following your own plan, and you just go crazy on it, right? You're like, oh, I have to hold it forever because I have this expectation I'm going to win, when you might not end up winning at all, right? Lastly, no profit targets. I think he just said his profit target was 180, 190, right? So let's draw that up on the chart right here. Let's draw that up on the chart right here. Now, the reason that I'm a huge advocate of never having a profit target is, let's say that NVIDIA doesn't hit that. All right. Like Stocky Lucky says, like AMD, it should go back up. Well, it is crashing up right now. And that's what I like to say is buy stocks as they're crashing up, not stocks as they're crashing down. But the problem with setting a profit target is that, let's say that he loves the 180, 190 time frame right there, right? The 180, 190 price. What if it never gets there? Right? What if it goes up from 157 right now to 172 and then falls, and it falls for the next 2 years? Are you going to hold waiting for that profit target to come back? Right? He just emotionally anchored himself to this profit target. This is a huge mistake that a lot of beginner investors do. I don't know Cory as a person. I can't imagine that he's trying to be on YouTube selling stocks or selling courses saying how genius he is and he be a beginner investor. But this right here is exactly how people get into trouble. You set a profit target and then you sit and you wait. And you lose and lose and lose and lose and lose. In fact, let's go to AMD, because I am sure a lot of people had a lot of profit targets when they bought it, Cory included, when it was way up here, because Cory was one of those people who were saying, in fact, I am 100% sure, 100% sure that I covered a video that Cory did probably in January on AMD, when AMD was trading around 116 or so. AMD fell to in the 70s, right? It went from around 116 to the 70s and then came back up. Only did it come back up in June. So basically what he did, and let's say, for example, that he had his price target right here, just for examples, right? From January to June, before he just got to break even. Just to break even. Because I 100% know he talked about AMD, because I covered one of his videos talking about AMD. Now, I'm not holding on to anything for 6 months just to get to break even. That's asinine. That is dumb. That is a huge waste of time and energy and emotions and money, where you can be to profits that much sooner by buying stocks as they're crashing up, which NVIDIA is, and then not setting that profit target, because we have no idea if it will hit that profit target. And I'm certainly not going to wait 7 months to find out if it is going to hit that. No way. Ain't nobody got time for that. So lastly, just have a plan to get out when one of your exit signals is hit. That's the key here. Do you have an exit plan? Most people don't. If you have an exit plan, that's what separates the best from the rest. I want you to be in the best. I don't want you to be like the rest. I want you to be in the best. And you need to have that exit plan in place before you put on the trade. Hank, I was there and glad I found you. Oh, I'm glad I found you, Hank. Everybody say Hank in the chat. Everybody pay respects to Hank in the chat. I appreciate Hank being here. So listen, I am trying to do my very best to make sure that I set you up for success. You, Hank, and everybody else as well. So that's why we're going through the OVTLYR 9 framework together, because while NVIDIA is set up, right? In fact, let me mark this one green. While NVIDIA is set up, nobody knows what the outcome will be. It can be a fantastic, perfect setup, but to price anchored as 180, 190, that could be potentially problematic. To say, I'm going to hold this for the next year or two, that could potentially be problematic. We want to be in, we want to have our plan, and we want to get out, and we want to move on. Right? That is the way you make money in the market. You don't sit on something for 7 months hoping and praying that it comes back. So we'll see.
There is still a lot of growth potential, and it's hard to say if this stock will give more than a 50% or 100% return, which is why it's number 5 on the list, but there's still a lot of growth on the table. 3.83 trillion on the market cap when we go to the trailing 12 months.
So I'll tell you one thing. Never once have I looked at any of these. Never. I didn't even know that button was over there in TradingView. Does any of this matter? No. Now, there are definitely different schools of thoughts in investing and trading, right? as I mentioned before, the only way you're going to get paid is price going up, right? The price of the stock is not the price of the fundamentals. It is not. You have seen, and I have seen, the fundamentals of a stock can be incredible, and the price of the stock can be depressed. You have seen the price of a stock be incredible, and then the fundamentals are terrible, right? Do not put your investing strategy on something that gets updated 4 times a year, which means the other 99% of the time, it's doing whatever the stock is going to do. This, as a trader, as an investor, shouldn't mean anything to you, in my opinion. Shouldn't mean anything to you because you will not get paid on what these fundamentals are.
It's 148
So we're going to skip over them.
revenue, billion, nothing top you down, swing out the window, and it's the list yet again. It's been a while.
SoFi. Okay, SoFi has been crazy. This is another one where I've gotten so much hate. I had to ban somebody the other day because they came in and like they were just dropping F-bombs about how stupid I was on SoFi and everything else. Here's the deal, right? I want you to understand something. Stocks go up, stocks go down. That doesn't mean that they're going to go up forever or down forever, right? And so when I was calling, and the receipts are on YouTube, when I said, do not buy SoFi right here before earnings in January, and then it got absolutely dominated. We have a phrase in the industry, you may have heard it before. It's called getting monkey hammered. I haven't got to use that in a while. SoFi got absolutely monkey hammered. So from January until June, it was going down and then coming back up. So from January to June, it has not changed in price, except down. Okay. It is the same price now as it was then. However, during that time, it trended down, and then you apply the outlier trend template on it. When the 10 crossed over the 20 and price crossed over the 50, that was right here. That was right here. I'm going to throw this a green light on here. Right. Sometimes you make a buck and sometimes you lose a buck on the outlier trend template, but you will be on the right side of the trend when it actually goes, instead of being on this side of the trend as it's going down, hoping and praying that it one day comes back. Right. So I think SoFi is brilliant here. Look at this trend, 10 over 20, price over 50. And it's right at these order blocks right here. I mean, if it closed above all of these order blocks, this significant area of resistance would disappear. But it hasn't done that yet. So let's run OVTLYR 9 on it. Let's run OVTLYR 9 on it. Let's set this up again. This is in the financial sector. The market won't change. So let's go look at SoFi's fear and greed and breadth for these sectors. SoFi. All right. So buy signal came through on Friday, June 20th. So let's put that up here. Friday, June 20th. Right there. Wow. Look at that. It has been gangbusters since that point. Right. It's up over 20% just since this most recent buy signal. So the sector fear and greed is growing more greedy. Sector breadth is bullish. 10 over 20, price over 50, outlier trend template is bullish, and the stock itself is getting more and more greedy. So boom, 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 boom. But this would have stopped me in my tracks. I would not go against any outlier blocks that we can see on the charts. Now, like I say, we actually have a script so you can use the free trading view plan and get the exact same indicators that I'm showing here right on my chart for free as well. That's over in our Discord. So looking at this, like, this is an awesome trend. This is a beautiful trend, a fantastic trend, a big, beautiful trend. But I wouldn't trade it right here because this area could prove significantly difficult. If it pops over 1850 or so, now we're looking at all green. Now we're looking at 9 of 9, very interested green. But here,
But now that the tariff talks are kind of going out the window and everything is getting better with tariffs, interest rate cuts are on the cusp, and inflation data is down and consistent. As long as we get interest rate cuts and the tariffs keep going the way they're going, SoFi has plenty of room to grow. And if the interest rates get cut sooner rather than later, it will move even more. But the market is already pricing most of that in. SoFi is approaching the ceiling, double top peak, and the resistance.
The ceiling, double top, peak, and resistance. That's what we just talked about. Look at Sunir Wahoo. He grabbed SoFi last week and he's up 90% on his options, right? And that makes sense because we just had that buy signal, and the buy signal shows the stock being up 20%. So being up 90% on those options, dude, makes total sense to me. Great work.
resistance of the previous high several months ago. And if it breaks that and makes new support, there's a whole new area of life for this stock. This without...
Dude, we are in complete agreement with this. That is interesting. I didn't expect to be in agreement with Cory so far. So far, his first pick, NVIDIA, totally agree with. Couldn't ask for a better stock. That's one I own right now. SoFi doesn't fit my trading plan because I am a snob all the way to my core. I won't buy a stock unless it's $20, and it's only at $18 right now. So it's too cheap for it. Is way too cheap for me. let me drink with my pinky sitting up. That's far too cheap for me to buy. But in all reality, I don't trade stocks that are that cheap. Because they aren't good companies that actually have people who want to buy them, right? Look at different companies, and their price will tell you how much people want to own the stock and how interested people are. Stocks that are under $20, it's kind of a waste of time until it reaches that point. But that's just listen, I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate for that. This is my opinion. As a non-reform snob, that is my opinion. With my pinky sticking out. But this support and resistance area, yeah, he's 100% in agreement with that.
Without a doubt, is one of the best stocks you can buy. Potentially could be one of the best, if not the best banks to buy too, but definitely the best fintech. SoFi has seen incredible growth over the past 6 months. Not as much as Robinhood, though. Robinhood is a little bit different, so to speak. Robinhood has seen from a $14 price all the way up to 50, 60 plus. So essentially, they have seen a 4 to 5x return, although SoFi has went from $6 only a year ago to 18, so it's seen a 3x return. But in my opinion, SoFi has the potential to 5 or 6x, which means there is still quite a bit of room left on the table. In fact,
so again, another behavioral problem here, because he's doing anchoring 5 or 6x. So if it's an $18 stock today, 18 times 5 is 90. So and hopefully he's not saying I'm going to price anchor to $90 and I'm going to hold it until I reach that point. Surely not, because that would honestly be really bad advice.
In my opinion, I would not be surprised if SoFi closed the year out at $30 plus. And realistically,
okay, so only 2x, right? Only 2x, bro. If that's the case, mortgage your house, right? That seems like a nice house. You might be able to get $500,000 for it, maybe $1 million, depending on where you are, right? Imagine taking your $1 million and putting a SoFi. By the end of the year, according to you, you'll have $2 million. So what are you waiting for? Put your money where your mouth is.
25 is within grasp, and SoFi is a great stock, a great company, and a great CEO runs the company. And Anthony Noto has said very many times that
not worth it.
That it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when they become one of the biggest banks in the United States. And the big key fundamental for SoFi is they're actually a bank. They have a banking charter, they have Galileo and Technisys and a lot of AI backing them, and a lot of products continually being added, and their year-over-year customer growth and year-over-year products added and overall growth as a company is very good. Anthony Noto has also sandbagged the stock many times for earnings, which has allowed them to consistently beat earnings and become very stable, and they're expected to always beat earnings. Because of this, they have a very strong and proven track record. Let's take a look at the financials and the technicals and look at the chart.
I'll look at the chart with you, but I'm not looking at the financials with you.
On SoFi. So you can see this is the double top peak, actually technically a triple top, but we can see that it resisted.
So this is exactly the same spot that our outlier blocks, which you can get for free inside of our Discord, created by one of the smartest people I know, Deep Thought, who's in our group. We can actually plot this on the chart for you, so you don't have to like actually go and figure out where this all this stuff is. Like, it just makes it so simple. But yeah, I'm seeing the exact same thing on our charts.
Right here, right here, right here. It had resistance issues here at 17, and here we are up here at 1875 yet again. The big key here, like NVIDIA, is we are looking for the stock to break and hold above the previous high of 1843, I believe.
I said 1850. He's saying 1843. We are totally in line.
45, which we are doing right now, 1855. So if I was to draw a line right here, this is the previous high. And
oh, you mean like this?
You can see on the 1 hour candle, we are dojiing.
Oh, bro. Okay. Another great point to bring up here, right? what time frame do you trade on? Actually, I would like to know in the chat, what time frame do you trade on? I'm gonna type my time frame, and then I want you to type in yours. Right? I'm not going to say it. Okay. What is the time frame you trade on? I just put mine in the chat. The reason being is that everything else, if it's on the weekly time frame and you trade daily, if it's on the monthly time frame and you trade daily, or if it's on the 1 minute time frame and you trade daily, or the 1 hour time frame and you trade daily, or the 4 hour time frame and you trade daily, all of that is extra noise that you don't need. Now, it sounds like he's looking more on longer term things. So I don't know why in the wild world of sports he'd even be looking at a 1 hour chart. There is no reason to look at a chart that's bigger than your time frame or smaller than your time frame when the only thing you need to be focusing in on is your time frame. Just my opinion. Daily keeps the emotions in check. I agree with that, dude. Mike says, one day, unless I have the emergency mode, then it's 5 minute chart. Mike knows what I'm talking about as well. Very good.
Above that line. This is critical, very critical to understand. Anytime I have previous highs, I turn this to like an orange color and I turn it solid. There we go. This is the previous high. Very important that doji's above. I'll show you guys something else that is very strong, which is volume footprint, which is what hedge funds use. It's part of order and flow, although TradingView does not have order and flow. And we can go in here and look and see exactly what's happening. The delta is 480K, which...
Okay, listen, I've never seen this, not once have I ever seen this volume footprint, so I'm going to learn along with you.
Is insane. 39,000 sales, 95,000 buys. We can see the buying is outweighing the selling, which means we're holding strong. As long as this doji candle remains green and stays the way it is right now, then we are good, especially if the stock goes up. But I do expect a nice run and then maybe a little pullback. And if it holds support and continues to go, this is the new high. And if it continues to do this, this is the new low. So this is the support, which means new life for SoFi and potentially $20 to $25 or more by the end of the year. If we look at the market cap of 20 billion and we divide the financials of...
Okay, we're going to skip through the financials. So we saw NVIDIA's a Lambo. So go ahead and put NVIDIA's a Lambo. NVDA equal Lambo because I own it. I wouldn't buy anything if it weren't a Lambo, by the way. And then SoFi, how would you rank SoFi? Now, the reason I ask is because while it does have all of this, it's still 8 of 9. But in my opinion, this is the one that would keep me from this. Like if everything else were there and this was not something I would consider, I'd be interested. But because this one thing is still red, this is a complete knockout for me. I would really like to know. SoFi Camry. That's a good answer, actually. Not quite Lambo. What about Lexus? Would you give SoFi Lexus? It's not quite Lambo. It's nice, but it's not Lambo nice, right? Dr. J says food stamp though. It's a food stamp. It's Lambo food stamp Lambo. No, it's not gonna work. It hasn't cleared that order block yet. Corey says SoFi's a Lambo. Broke that order block yesterday. Sarah says it's a Kia. Christian says not a Lexus. Absolutely not. Shane says, Chris, in the video, he said the CEO is sandbagging the financials. He has to fall in line with SEC guidance. So right there, it's an automatic lie and just, I feel, instead of facts. Interesting. Lambo with the flat tire. There you go. Nah, too cheap. It's too cheap. It is too cheap, right? For a snob like me, it's too cheap. It's a Stambo. It's a Stambo. SoFi's bought me a used Lambo. Very cool. I love it. So let's move on. Let's get to the next stock here. I know this is taking ages, but I'm having a lot of fun watching this with you guys. Let's go to his next one here.
Crushing earnings stock to add to your portfolio is AMD. AMD.
Why is it always AMD? It's always AMD. Why is it always AMD? Tell me in the chat. Why is it always AMD? Now, I mentioned earlier how I know for a fact that I covered so many AMD videos in January. Are those picks up now? Yeah, but it also took them like 6 months to get up. For Chris, that is a hellaciously long time to get to break even. Are you kidding me? So why AMD? Why does everybody love it? In fact, I remember during that time, I'm going through these and I'm following my outlier concepts, and I'm like, am I missing something here? I had that seed of doubt. Am I the one who's wrong when everybody else is saying how AMD is the greatest buy of all time? How AMD is crashing down to zero, but it's the greatest buy ever? Am I missing something? Now, a lot of you are probably like, well, Chris, that's because they're good dollar cost averaging, right? So these lines on here are what I want to show you real quick, right? This is where, in the green circle, where the outlier trend template 10/20, price over 50 actually flipped and is bullish right here, right at the bottom, okay? But all the way down, them screaming, oh, you have to buy it, you have to buy it, you have to buy it. Well, here's the deal, right? If you're going to dollar cost average into something, this will blow a lot of your minds. If you're going to dollar cost average into something and you do it on the way up here, 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 and here, rather than here, 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 and here, it's going to blow your mind. You get the same average price. You get the exact down to the penny average price if you're buying it on the way back up and averaging up into it versus buying it on the way back down and hoping and praying that one day you can finally get back to break even. The average price is the same. It's so weird. So weird how math works. So weird. But the problem with that strategy, buying it as stocks are crashing down, is you don't know how far it's going to go down. You also don't know how far it's going to go up, but you know you're already winning and it's feeling good and it's looking good all day. And ooh, every time you open your broker account, you're like, oh man, how great is it? How glorious is it to be averaging up my position versus, oh my gosh, I can't look. Oh no. Well, that YouTuber said to buy more, so I'm going to buy more blindly. You look away as you click the button, right? All the way down, all the way down, all the way down. It's a hugely different world when you're buying stocks as they crash up versus buying stocks as they crash down, and you get the same price for them. The same price for them. All right, back to this. Now, I know the tech sector, we covered that first, is already set up here. So the market and the sector is good to go. Let's look at the stock. Let's pop over into Outlier. Let's look at AMD. All the YouTube Muppets talk about the same 10 stocks. I agree, dude. I agree. That's exactly what I see. And I don't understand why. Like there's a world of stocks out there. Why are we focusing on those? So we got a buy signal in Outlier on AMD on April 25th. All the way back at April 25th. Let me remove this circle here. I don't want to remove all of them. I just want to remove this one. There. April 25th was right here. Okay. Now, a couple days later, finally the trend changes and then rocket ships, right? Rocket ships. Let's wait. Let's say you actually got it in when it's up here, right? It's up 43% since then. Now, going back to the trolls who I know are going to watch this and be like, AMD is so I'm such a genius for buying AMD, right? Yeah, you did, because the trend actually reversed. Trends will continue until, what do they say? The trend is your friend until it bends, right? It was not your friend all the way down, but it is your friend right now. And if you're average down, you could have got the exact same average price up without having to lose all that sleep that you just went through. Okay. So boom. Outlier signal has been tremendous on this one. 10/20, price over 50. And then it's getting more and more greedy. It's still getting more and more greedy. For 2 months now, it's been going up and up and up and up in the greed. So it's crazy. And then there is an outlier block here now. I was about to say there's no outlier blocks on top of it, but there is right now an outlier block. Oof. So 8 out of 9 with the last one being on there for me. What would you say? How would you rank this? Because it's the same as SoFi, right? Everything else, 8 of 9 is green. But the last one, the outlier blocks, in fact, in my opinion, the one that will absolutely disqualify a trade for me. How would you rank this? Lambos or food stamps or somewhere in between? Somewhere in between.
Returns yet again, and they are now on a tear, especially with the new incoming news about AMD and the upcoming strength with contracts in the Middle East and a lot of different other things that we're going to dive into right now with AMD. I told you guys that AMD was a strong buy several months ago when it was 112. It dropped to 105. Then it was dropping down into the 90s. And I told
Hang on. Sorry, Corey, we're going to cover your face on this one. So at 112, it was a strong buy. And then it went down into the 90s. Actually went down to the 70s. So a strong buy. Hold on here. Hold on a second. I don't think I understand math. So it's down $22 from where you said was a strong buy. So 22 divided by 112. So it's down 19.6%. What I'm talking about. That's what I think is a strong buy. Hell yeah. Let's buy the shit out of something when it's down 20%. Let's go. Oh my gosh. I can't wait to buy something that goes down 20% after I bought it. Let's see if he digs his hole any deeper.
Told you guys that by summer, AMD would be running. In fact, in my Discord, I told all my...
By summer. I mean, it's already gone down 20% from where I told you, because I'm a genius. It's already gone down 20% since then. So by summer, it has to be up, right? It should go up, which is the most dangerous word in finance. Should. It has to. It can't go down any farther. Come on. I mean, it's already down. Hang on. From all-time highs to there, it was already down. All-time highs to 112. That was already down. It was only down 51% since then. Okay, since all-time highs, it's only down 51%. So it has to go up that much. Duh. And then from the point that he said how great of a buy it was, down another 20%. How about you do what this random guy on the internet says and buy stocks as they're crashing up, because you will not get paid unless it's going up. And where did it go up at? I'm just curious. What was the price here where Chris has got circled? I'm very curious at what price that would be. Very curious. Well, OVTLYR had the buy signal around $95 or so. Then it finally crossed over at $100 or so. Weird. So here's the deal. There are people who want to sell you courses. Then there are people who actually want to make money. I want to make money. And you can do that with me by using the OVTLYR data. Okay, I'm just putting that out there. You can do, and OVTLYR is so cheap. In fact, OVTLYR is only 82 cents a day. In fact, let me do my pitch real quick. Oh no, I've missed my pitch slide. Hang tight. This is very important stuff here. You're probably wondering what OVTLYR is and how does it work? Well, old Uncle Warren used to say, be fearful when others are greedy and greedy when others are fearful, right? OVTLYR shows you if investors are acting irrationally fearful or greedy and by how much, allowing you to get in the stock before the OVTLYR move happens, right? And so if we go to AMD, right? OVTLYR alerted you back when it was at the $100-ish level. And then what happened since then? Versus Cory's brilliance is I'm going to alert you at 112 and it's going to go down 20-something%. It actually went down a lot more than that, but he didn't want to claim that one. It actually went down 20% before starting to go back up. So the choice is yours. Buy it on the way down or buy it on the way up. You're only going to be profitable as the price is going up. Now, if you're ready to save time, make money, and start winning with less risk, it's just 3 simple steps, right? Head on over to OVTLYR.com, grab the annual pass for just 82 cents a day, okay? And if you're on the monthly plan, you can have one click button to upgrade and save 64% off the regular monthly price. Step 2, start using the OVTLYR 9. I'm showing you how to do this, right? I'm exactly showing you on purpose so that you can start using it. And rather than watching it drop 20% before you start to be profitable, how about we just buy it and immediately be profitable? You tell me, which sounds better? I don't know. I think I would rather be immediately profitable instead of waiting several months and stressing over it. And then step 3, just sit back and relax because you just found the easiest way to save time, make money, and start winning with less risk. All right. We're gonna run through his next 2 picks here because I want to see how brilliant they are. Surely they didn't go down 20% like this one did before they came back up. Surely not. Let's see here.
There it goes. The number 2 stock to add to your portfolio, we've talked about so many times and is now being included in the Russell 1000. It's none other than Palantir.
Palantir. I think Palantir is actually in a world of hurt right now. Let's go over and look at Palantir real quick. I talked about on the Sunday video why you didn't have to be in that giant sell-off that just happened with Palantir, right? So looking at Palantir, still in the tech sector. So let's do this. Still in the tech sector, but we got some huge red flags on this one. First, sitting on a sell signal. The trend, let's double check it over here. Palantir's trend is not looking good. Oh, by the way, that's where I traded it and made 74% in 5 days because I was buying as it was crashing up, not buying as it's crashing down. It still has the 10/20, price over 50. The 50 is not loading in yet. I don't know why it's being slow here on TradingView, but it is what it is. So I will give you signal, or I will give you trend slightly. Fear and greed, though. Let's look on fear and greed. Right, getting way more fearful, way more fearful. Now, what I wanted to showcase was how you could have absolutely sidestepped this 10% sell-off here. I don't want to erase my notes, but I might have to. You could have absolutely sidestepped this sell-off here. How could we have done that? First, we got the sell signal on Friday, June 20th. Friday, June 20th was this candle right here. So let's mark that. Friday, June 20th was right here. That was the sell signal. Okay. It did go up a couple days after that, absolutely, but in the middle of this order block, this outlier block here. And the thing is that these act as significant support and resistance. And what happened? It met a lot of resistance. In fact, it totally tanked. I think it was down like 10% that day. What else, right? Now, it did get a buy signal on the bottom of this candle, but I would not take any buys as it's down here. And now it's gotten a new sell signal after that point. This is also a reason why I trade at the end of the day, because that buy signal you would have seen in the morning. But if you wait until the end of the day and get that price confirmation that we're looking for, you would have said, okay, never mind. I don't want this stock. I don't want this stock. So again, you would have avoided that 10% down move. Also, getting less greedy all week long since that sell signal, it was getting less and less and less greedy, while the average in that sector was getting more greedy. While the breadth was going up in that sector, the stock itself getting less and less greedy, more and more fearful. So you could have absolutely 100% sidestepped that dude. Absolutely sidestepped that dude. Let's go with his final one here. Let's go to his final one here. By the way, Palantir is food stamps for me all day. Food stamps all day to me. And then the last one is Adobe. ADBE. ADBE. ADB. ADBE. Do you find this useful? Is this helpful? Right? I like to do these Lambos or food stamps because I like to contrast our different styles, right? I'm not saying that Cory's a bad person. I'm not saying everything he's doing is wrong, because of course we agreed on a couple of them. But what I am saying is I have my best, or I have your best interest at heart here. And this is why I love to do this. I love this game. Like this is what I was born to do, is trade stocks. And I get to do this with you for free on the internet. And I show you all of my entries and exits for free here on YouTube. No paywall required. Manny says, oh, hell yes. Okay. Anthony says, yes, very. Cad says, yes, helpful. Cory says, it's super helpful. It reinforces good principles and concepts, rules, and strategies. Okay, cool. Cool. Listen, I would love to do collabs with Cory. Cory, if you hear this, right, dude, let's hang out sometime. I would love to chat with you. The differing styles that we have could prove quite entertaining if we were to do a collaboration. Because looking at this, bro, this is food stamps for miles away. Okay. So this is in the tech sector. However, let's look at Adobe. 10 under 20, price under 50. This is in a red background right there, which means it has a bearish trend. It's sitting on a sell signal that came all the way back on May 30th. It's getting more and more fearful all the way down. Like reds. It probably has an outlier block on top of it, if I had to guess. ADBE. Actually, it has a little outlier block that could help it these days, but it does have that one up here, which, if I had to guess, May 30th, that was the sell signal that came through May 30th, right? Ooh, look at that. What's happened since that sell signal here? It's only down 7%, only down $32 a share. But the key here is that outlier got you out of the way before that happened, right? Out of the way before that happened. So what were these stocks again? NVIDIA and SoFi, totally agree with. Lambos all day, except for SoFi's order block. That gives me a lot of hesitation right there. What was those other ones? There was AMD. AMD has another order block on top of it. Elsewise, it looks great. Then there was what we just did a moment ago. What was that? I totally spaced out. Frick, I cannot remember. Adobe, the one we were just looking at right now, not so great. I wouldn't buy Adobe. Oh, Palantir. I wouldn't buy Adobe with your money. And then Palantir has a lot of issues too, right? So I'm a little split 50-50 on Cory's stock picks right here. But I don't want you to be split, right? I want you to look at the data, use the OVTLYR 9, and know if the stock is trending in your direction completely across the board, right? With the market, with the sector, and with the stock itself. Once you get that, trading becomes effortless. You can ask anybody in the chat right now, Doing the OVTLYR 9 makes trading feel effortless. And I want to do that for you. Right now, if you're ready to save time, make money, and start winning with less risk, click one of these 2 videos and have a fantastic day. We'll talk soon.